Waves and Radiation, Lesson 14, Refraction. In Lesson 14, Refraction, this is our main learning outcome. By exploring refraction of light when passed through different materials, lenses, and prisms, I can explain how light can be used in a variety of applications. These are our success criteria. I can state that refraction is the change in speed of light when moving from one material to another. I can draw a diagram to show how light is refracted through different lenses, and I can describe the effect of a prism on white light. Refraction is the change in speed of light when passing from one material to another. It's very important that we realize that even though sometimes refraction can cause a change in direction, sometimes it won't. But the speed of light will always change when going from one medium to another if one medium is more dense than the other. So say, for example, I move from air to glass, light will slow down. In this activity, we look at the refraction of light through different lenses. First of all, we have a look at the rectangular lens. In the first diagram, we can see light entering at 90 degrees to the surface, what we call along the normal. Remember the normal from our experiments with reflection. We can see that when this happens, the light passes straight through in a straight line. However, when the light enters at an angle to the normal, what we remember call the angle of incidence, we can see that the light is refracted still, it slows down, but also changes direction. And we now have another angle here, which is an angle of refraction. And then when the light comes out of the block, it speeds up again, producing another line, and these two lines here are parallel with each other. So the light goes into the block, slows down, speeds back up again when it comes out. Both of these are showing refraction, but only one of them is showing a change in direction. We can also look at light going through different types of lenses. These are the types of lenses which you would see within your glasses. So we have a thin convex lens, and as the light goes through, we can see that it comes to a focus point. And we could actually measure the distance between the center of the lens and that focus point, and we would call that the focal length. If we do the same thing, but this time with a thick convex lens, we see that the length between the center of the lens and the focal length, is much smaller. So thicker lenses are stronger lenses. They bring light to a focus more quickly, which is why if your eyesight is particularly poor, you might have thicker glasses. The concave lens has the opposite effect. Light goes in, and then we see it diverge. It comes out. Now, these are diagrams which you should copy and complete in your jotters for revision. We can also look at light through what we call the triangular prism. In the first example, we're showing red light, monochromatic light, light of one color. Again, refraction occurs. So we see a change in direction. We go towards the normal when we're inside of the block. So see, this angle of incidence is much bigger than this angle of refraction. And then again, when it comes out of the block, it speeds up again. And we have a much larger angle of refraction. If, however, we don't have red light, we don't have monochromatic light, instead we have white light. White light is actually made of lots of different colors of light, lots of different frequencies of light. When the white light enters the triangular prism, we see it start to split up into each of those different colors because each color refracts by a slightly different amount. And then from the other side, we see all of the colors of the rainbow, what we call a visible spectrum in physics: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Now this obviously links into the world of work, because we can see that different types of lenses can be used for different purposes, for example, telescopes and glasses, and we explore this in a later PowerPoint. So a summary of refraction. Refraction is the change in speed of light when moving from one material to another, for example, air to glass. Refraction may cause the light to change direction, that is, bend as it enters and exits a lens or a block or a prism, but it doesn't always. Thicker lenses refract more than thinner lenses, as we saw with the convex lenses. The refraction of white light through a prism causes it to split into its color components, and that's how we get rainbows. We have white light refracting through droplets of light, and if we have a look at the glass prism, it's got a very similar shape to a droplet. So let's check our success criteria. Can you state that refraction is the change in speed of light when moving from one material to another? Can you draw a diagram to show how light is refracted through different lenses? And can you describe the effect of a prism on white light? We're going to look at the show me questions. We're applying our knowledge in an unfamiliar situation. You can read the question, pause, have a shot at answering yourself, and then start again to see the answer. What is the change in speed of light when moving from one material to another? That's refraction. Light entering glass or plastic from air will slow down as glass is a more dense material. Refraction can cause the watt of light to change when moving from one material to another. Refraction can cause a change in direction, but doesn't always. Light entering the block at 90 degrees to the surface, along what we call the normal, will pass straight through. When we go in at an angle, we see a change in direction going in and then another change in direction going out. And these lines here going in and coming out are parallel to each other. Through a thin convex lens, we see light being refracted to a focus point. When we put the same light through a thick convex lens, we see light come to a focus much sooner. The focal length is shorter. When red monochromatic light goes through a prism, we can see it refract, change in direction, slowing down inside, speeding up outside. But when white light goes through a prism, it produces a spectrum of all of the colors of visible light. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. A useful mnemonic for this is Roy G. Biv. Here we see white light going into the prism, splitting up into the colors inside, and then coming out in the order Roy G. Biv.